Everything is built out of your value system. You want to understand what your values are. Some of you guys probably heard me talk about your ideal versus your real self, and my whole first book is on this topic. Our ideal self is the self we want the world wants us to be. And the world in this case generally is your family, your culture, society, your political party, your religious group, whatever it is. There's this story of who you think you are, which may or may not be tied to actual truth. And normally that started as an indoctrination as a child. So think about, there's this idea of who you think your mom or dad want you to be that you still pretend you are when you're around them. This is your ideal self, not your real self. And this is why little Johnny goes through a stage where he becomes a crazy person and mom goes, "This isn't the little Johnny that I raised." Right? A lot of boys go through this season of craziness, and the reason they go through the season of craziness is they start to test their value system. So ideal values aren't generally what we actually believe. It's what we think we should believe. This is also where we get phrases like, "I should do this," right? Or "I shouldn't do that." Challenge me on this. I would offer we always do what we value most. Always. There are no exceptions to this. So the best way to learn about yourself is, what decisions do I continually make? Anybody want to challenge me on this one?
Okay. What if I said, like, I should rest, but instead I'm like, I continue to work?
Right. More we could say I value rest, but I don't ever rest. So this you hear this a lot. This is a normal one. Oh, I should rest, or I shouldn't go out tonight. I know I should get some sleep. I know I should turn off the fucking movie, whatever the story is, right? So there's this story of what we think we should do, but we do something else. Why is that? There's something else we value more. That's it, always. When you say you should do something that you're not doing, one, that's judgment, that's not gonna be very helpful to you, but two, it's a tip-off that there is something else you value more that you are not acknowledging. And the goal isn't to judge that, it's simply to understand it. Because then you can go, well, is this something I really want to value more? Or is it? Because sometimes you're like, why do I still value that? That's not that important. And so a lot of times these unconscious values hold us back because we're not willing to acknowledge them. And because we're not acknowledging them, they're operating behind the scenes and we're making decisions that seem counter to the things we really want. This is your ideal you. Now, in my opinion, part of getting to adulthood is closing the gap between our ideal self and our real self. So that it's okay if there's a little bit of a gap between the ideal and the real, but if the gap is too big, you don't have any power. Interesting study was done just recently that showed the strongest energetic field around a human being is not love, it's authenticity, which is your power. That's the gap between ideal and real. When the gap is too big, you lack authenticity. The closer that gap is, the more authentic you are, the more power you have to create in your world, because the more aligned you are with who you actually are. Right? A lot of times what we say is who we think we are, or more importantly, what we want others to believe we are. What we do is who we really are. And if that gap is too big, we're all kinds of fucked up. So the key then is to learn how to love the real you and accept the real you, instead of wasting so much time trying to convince yourself you aren't that thing. Why would we do that? That which you resist persists. Once you can acknowledge this, now you can choose, well, what do I want to do about it? Do I want to keep showing up this way? Is this really what I want to value? But until you're even willing to acknowledge it, nothing can be done.